Hello, friend. Thank you for being here tonight. I know sleep doesn't always come easily. Maybe your mind is racing, or perhaps the silence feels too heavy. Whatever brought you here, you're welcome. You're safe. And for the next hour, you don't have to be anywhere else or do anything else. Just stay a while and listen. Can you hear it? That's rain. Soft, steady rain falling somewhere beyond your window, or maybe just in your imagination, a gentle rhythm that's been lulling people to sleep since the beginning of time. There's something about rain that makes us feel sheltered, protected. It creates a barrier between us and the world outside, a curtain of sound that holds us in this moment. Tonight, I'm going to share some stories with you. Real stories, or at least, stories that could be real. The kind of things that happen to ordinary people on ordinary days that become extraordinary, unsettling, unforgettable. But don't worry. You're here with me, and I'll guide you through each one. When things get tense, we'll breathe together. When the shadows grow long, we'll remember we're safe in this space we've created. So get comfortable. Adjust your pillow. Pull your blanket a little higher. Let the rain wash away the day's worries. And listen. Story 1. The night shift at Riverside Rest Stop. Sarah's shift at the Riverside Rest Stop started at 11 p.m., just as it had every Thursday for the past 8 months. The fluorescent lights hummed their familiar electric lullaby as she clocked in, waving goodbye to Marcus, the evening shift worker who always seemed grateful to escape into the night. Quiet tonight, Marcus said, grabbing his jacket. Maybe 2-3 cars stopped. Should be easy. Sarah nodded, already tying her hair back, preparing for the long, lonely hours ahead. The rest stop sat on a desolate stretch of Route 48, surrounded by dense pine forest on 3 sides and the dark ribbon of the Columbia River on the 4th. During the day, it was busy enough. Families on road trips, truckers grabbing coffee, tourists needing directions. But at night, it transformed into something else entirely. A way station between destinations, populated only by the desperate and the lost. She didn't mind it, usually. Sarah had always been comfortable with solitude. She brought her anatomy textbook. Med school applications were due in January, and she needed to ace the MCAT. The night shift paid time and a half, and the tips, though infrequent, helped. The first few hours passed uneventfully. A trucker bought coffee and beef jerky at 11:47. A family with a crying baby stopped at 12:30, the mother looking exhausted and grateful for the bathroom break. Sarah restocked the napkin dispensers, wiped down the counters, and highlighted passages in her textbook about the cardiovascular system. At 2:17 a.m., the door chimed. Sarah looked up from her book to see a man standing in the entrance. He was maybe 40, maybe 50, one of those people whose age is hard to pin down. Average height, average build, wearing a blue windbreaker beaded with rain. His hair was plastered to his forehead, and he stood completely still, water dripping onto the linoleum. "Hi there," Sarah said, her customer service voice automatic. "Nasty night out there, yeah?" The man didn't respond. He just looked at her with dark, unblinking eyes. Then, slowly, he walked toward the coffee station. Sarah felt the first flutter of unease. Something about his movements was wrong, too deliberate, too measured. Like someone performing the action of walking to get coffee rather than actually doing it. She watched as he picked up a cup, held it under the dispenser, and pressed the lever. No coffee came out. The pot was empty. "Oh, sorry about that," Sarah said, already moving from behind the counter. "I'll brew a fresh pot. Just take a minute." The man didn't acknowledge her. He continued holding his empty cup under the dispenser, pressing the lever again and again, even though nothing came out. Press. Release. Press. Release. His face remained expressionless. "Sir." Sarah's voice felt smaller now. "I said I'll make fresh coffee. You can." "Where is she?" The man's voice was flat, toneless. Sarah stopped. "I'm sorry? Where is she?" Not a question. A statement repeated. "I don't. Who are you looking for? Is someone?" The man turned to face her fully, and Sarah saw that his eyes weren't just dark, they were empty. Like looking into a room with no one home. "You're not her," he said. "No, I don't know who you mean." Sarah's heart was hammering now. The textbook on the counter suddenly seemed very far away, though it was only 10 feet. Her phone was in her back pocket. The panic button under the counter was even farther. "She was here," the man said, still in that terrible flat voice. "Last Thursday, 2:17 a.m. She was behind the counter. She had red hair. Where is she?" Sarah's mouth went dry. Last Thursday, she'd switched shifts with Melissa to attend her grandmother's funeral. Melissa had red hair. My coworker, Sarah said carefully. She's not working tonight. Can I help you with something? Did you leave something behind last week? The man tilted his head, like a bird examining prey. She smiled at me, he said. She has a beautiful smile. I need to see it again. Every instinct in Sarah's body was screaming. This wasn't right. This was so far from right that reality itself seemed to warp around the man's presence. I'm sorry, sir, but I can't give out information about other employees. Company policy. Her voice was shaking. Why was her voice shaking? If you'd like, you can leave a message and I'll make sure she gets it. What time does she work? The man took a step closer. Then another. I really can't. What time does she work? Louder now, but still in that horrible monotone, like a recording being played at increased volume. Sarah's hand moved to her back pocket. Sir, I need you too. The man's hand shot out faster than should have been possible and grabbed her wrist. His grip was ice cold and steel strong. Tell me when she works, he said, his face inches from hers now. His breath smelled like nothing. Like the complete absence of scent, as if he wasn't breathing at all. In that moment, Sarah made a decision. She stopped trying to de-escalate. Stopped trying to be polite. Stopped being the good employee. She screamed. It wasn't a horror movie scream or a damsel in distress scream. It was a raw, primal alarm, the sound evolution designed to summon help and shatter the predator's focus. She screamed with everything she had, and simultaneously, she twisted her wrist using the self-defense move her brother had taught her, breaking the man's grip. She ran. Not toward the panic button. Not toward her phone. Toward the back office, because the back office had a door that locked from the inside and a landline that connected directly to the state police station. She heard his footsteps behind her, too fast, too smooth. She slammed through the office door and threw the deadbolt just as his body hit the other side. The door shuttered in its frame. Sarah grabbed the phone. Dialed 911. Nothing, the line was dead. She tried again. Dead. She looked at the phone cord and saw that it had been cut, the ends frayed and separated. When had it been cut? It had worked yesterday. She'd used it to call in a supply order. The man wasn't pounding on the door or shouting. There was no sound from the other side at all. Somehow, that was worse. Sarah pulled out her cell phone with shaking hands. 1 bar of signal. She dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? There's a man at Riverside Rest Stop on Route 48. He attacked me. I'm locked in the back office. Please send help. The words tumbled out in a rush. Stay calm. I'm dispatching officers now. Are you injured? No, but Sarah stopped. She could hear something. A scraping sound. Metal on metal. She looked up at the ceiling vent, and her blood turned to ice. The vent cover was moving. He's coming through the vent, she whispered into the phone. Oh God, he's coming through the vent. Officers are 3 minutes away. Can you get out of the building? The office had no exterior door. The only way out was back through the door she'd locked, into the main area where the man was. Where was he? If he was in the vents, where was his body? The vent cover fell to the floor with a clatter. Sarah backed into the corner, holding her phone like a talisman. In the dark square of the vent opening, she saw movement. Fingers. A hand. An arm extending down at an angle that shouldn't have been possible for a human shoulder joint. She grabbed the only weapon available, a heavy 3-hole punch from the desk, and waited. The man's head emerged from the vent, his neck twisted at that same impossible angle, his empty eyes finding her immediately. Tell me when she works, he said, his voice still flat despite his upside-down position. Sarah threw the whole punch with all her strength. It struck him in the face with a satisfying crack, and he made a sound, the first emotional sound she'd heard from him, a hiss of pain or anger. His head retreated into the vent. Sirens. Sarah could hear sirens. They're here, she shouted at the ceiling, at the vent, at the man. The police are here. The scraping sound in the vents moved away, fading. A minute later, she heard car doors, voices, someone trying the main entrance. Back here, she screamed. Back office. It took the officers 15 minutes to secure the building. They found the main entrance unlocked, the lights still buzzing, her textbook open on the counter. They found wet footprints leading from the entrance to the coffee station to the office door. They found the cut phone line. They didn't find the man. They checked the vents, standard size, maybe 2 feet by 1 foot. Nobody could fit through these, one officer said, shining his flashlight into the dark metal tunnel. Maybe a kid, but not a full-grown man. Sarah showed them the vent cover on the office floor. She described what she'd seen. She watched their faces shift from concern to skeptical. "You've been working alone all night?" one officer asked gently. "That can play tricks on the mind sometimes. The isolation, the weird hours." "I know what I saw," Sarah said, but even to her own ears, it sounded defensive, desperate. They filed a report. They increased patrols on Route 48. They advised the rest stop manager to install better security cameras. And they suggested, politely, that Sarah might want to talk to someone. Long-term night shift work can cause hallucinations, they said. Stress can manifest in unusual ways. Sarah never worked another Thursday night. She switched permanently to weekend afternoons. And she called Melissa the next morning to warn her, to tell her about the man looking for the red-headed girl who worked Thursdays at 2:17 a.m. Melissa transferred to a different location that same week. She didn't tell Sarah why, but Sarah noticed that Melissa had dyed her hair blonde. The Riverside rest stop is still there, still open 24 hours, still lit by those buzzing fluorescent lights. Sarah graduated and moved away for medical school. But sometimes, late at night when she can't sleep, she thinks about that man. His empty eyes. His impossible movements. The way he knew exactly when Melissa had been working. And she wonders, if she had told him when Melissa worked, would he have simply left? Or was he always planning to climb through that vent, always going to try to take what he wanted? Some questions, Sarah realized, are more comfortable left unanswered.